Yo, welcome back to another episode of Mailbag Monday by the Money Matters podcast. I am your host, Jack. And ladies and gentlemen, this show is brought to you by nobody. We got no sponsors. I'm not going to sell you a protein bar. I'm not going to sell you a gym membership. I'm not going to sell you a new TV. This show is by me, myself, and I. This show is about transparency, authentic conversation, truth seeking. I finance this show myself. I am the CEO and founder of Strike. I've been in Bitcoin for 12 years, and I'm here to just hang out. I see we got everyone piling in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys know the drill. Let me know where you're dialing in from. I think it's so cool that Bitcoin is a global movement. I see Australia. I see the UK. What are you guys up to? Where are you dialing in from? We'll let everybody pile in here before we get started. Captain Jack. I like that nickname. Indianapolis, near me. As you guys can see, we're in the empty closet, chilling, hanging. Same, but different. Colorado, Florida, Philly. Amazing. Welcome. Happy Monday. What a day to be alive. Count your blessings, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? It is, I'm just checking my phone, 52 degrees here in Chicago. I could cry. I went walking around. I was flower picking them. Whew. What a beaut. Oh, someone's dialing in from Chicago. You feel this weather. Count your blessings. 52 degrees. Feels like God's gift to my soul. Toronto, Portland, Thailand. Welcome. All right. We got over 100 folks on YouTube alone. So I say we get this show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, I am dialing in to the World Wide Web with a Bitcoin price at $92,630 US, a market cap of 1.84 trillion. We're now sub $2 trillion market cap for the asset that is Bitcoin. I will give my market insights, but I think you guys know what I'm going to say. For the past few months on this show, I've said what? I think in the short term, I expect volatility. In the medium to long term, I expect bullish. In the short term, I expect volatility. I would not be surprised if we dipped. I think Trump and this new administration has some things to work out with the Fed. We've seen some weak economic data, some concerns. The reverse repo market has been draining. The question is, where is the liquidity coming from? How is the dollar going to weaken? Trump is inflationary. If you're going to reshore and rebuild America here in the country, it's going to take a lot of money that we don't have to do it. So it's inflationary. You're going to have to print money. How and when is what everyone wants to know. Until the market gets that certainty, it will not pick a direction. It might sell off. So when I look at a $92,000 Bitcoin, guys, since November, we've been in the same range. Post-election, we've been in the $90,000 to $110,000 range. I could have taken a nap. As soon as everyone found out Trump got elected, I could have taken a nap, woke up, and nothing will have changed. That's the crazy thing about this market is I say, it'll scare you out or it'll wear you out. Sometimes both. The name of the game is to just be in it. Just stay alive. Just stay humble and just stack sats. Just live your life profitably. So I know this is repetitive. It might get boring, but I would regret not taking every opportunity to reiterate some of the most important messages as a Bitcoiner. You stay humble. You stack sats. Ignore volatility. Expect volatility. Don't get scared out. Don't get worn out. Okay. If you've been a listener of this show, Listen, I'm never the guy that's going to tell you I told you so. Couldn't be me. But I kind of told you so. I kind of told you so. So that's the market insight I have. I mean, other than that, guys, when I look at, so Bitcoin in the last 24 hours is down 3.3%. Ethereum is down 10%. Ripple is down 10%. Solana is down 14%. Are we surprised on this show? No, not at all. All of these things are meme coins. There's no long-term value accrual to these things. They are not money. They are failed technologies at best. They are arbitrages on the trend. Okay. Bitcoin goes down. These things are going to go down even more. These things are getting absolutely demolished against Bitcoin. And it kind of goes to show which project is legitimate and which isn't. It doesn't impress me when everything's inflating against the dollar that you're inflating as well. What impresses me is relative strength against Bitcoin. Is there anything in the world you'd rather own than Bitcoin? And here's another example that answer is a resounding no. No. Not even no. Not even close. Like, wouldn't fathom owning any of these pieces of shit ever. So I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of distress on the internet. I see a lot of people in panic. I feel great. I feel great. I live my life profitably. I run a profitable business. I stack sats every day. I try and remain humble, and I expect the volatility. I expect to scare you out, wear you out. So it's a good day to be stacking sats. It's a good day to be stacking. I'm going to go to bed richer in Bitcoin terms than I was when I woke up. That's a good day. So I always find this funny as well, in that, you know, I don't know why the market is so distressed. I think this is a cleanse, a cleaning of those that aren't deserving to be here, potentially. So in any event, you guys know, and for those that don't, you can ask any question you want in the chat. I may not answer it right away, but I will answer it at the end. I've got a document to my left. It's being populated by my team that's here in the chat with you guys. And I will get to all of your Q&A at the end of the show. So as far as market sentiment and market analysis, that's really what I have for now. If you guys have questions about the public markets, tariffs, anything that comes to mind and why markets are acting the way they are, I'm more than happy to answer it. I just don't want to be too repetitive. Maybe I've got a similar audience week over week, and you guys don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over and over again. But the reality is, I've said it, even through this whole Q1, even through something like March, a lot of chop, potentially a dip, a lot of volatility. I think Q2 onwards, so starting spring, summer months, I expect the dollar to weaken and significantly. And I think the market will have picked a direction, and that direction will be up. It's been my position for many months. If it ever changes, I'll let you guys know, but it has not changed. Waking up and seeing a $92,000 Bitcoin, I thought made some sense. And hopefully those listening to the show are not foreign, and it made sense to you too. Okay. Something I wanted to talk about. So here's what we'll do today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to chat about a few topics that I want to chat about. Then we'll get into some trivia, and then we'll do some Q&A. I'm back on the road again. I'm back on the road tomorrow. So I got stuff to do tonight. I got to pack. I got to do stuff before I get on a plane. I'm going out west, and then I'm going out east. If anyone's out in New York, I will be there for the Bitcoin week. I speak on Friday, so that'll be fun. I hope to see some of you there. So I cannot hang out for a full 2 hours today. So I'm going to be relatively brief, more brief than usual when it comes to what's on my mind in the world of Bitcoin. And then we'll definitely get out a little bit of trivia, because I know you guys love that. And then I'll make sure I get to your Q&A. You guys ask a lot of questions. I think it's really cool to have a connection with you all and be able to answer. Sound good? Okay. One of the things I thought was interesting is MicroStrategy and Saylor bought Bitcoin today. Let me pull up his actual announcement. So Saylor closed a $2 billion convertible note offering. at a 0% coupon and a 35% premium. So just so everyone is aware, what that means is he's selling to fixed income investors, and he's selling a note that gives you 0% coupon. Means how much do you make annually by buying this note? You don't make anything annually, 0%. And the premium is 35%. So when do you get the option to convert into stock? 35% higher than the stock is trading today. And so he does this because at that 35% conversion, at that 35% premium, that's higher than it is today, where if he buys the Bitcoin, that's what he means when it's accretive to his shareholders. He calls this BTC yield. So he took the $2 billion and he bought 20,356 Bitcoin. MicroStrategy now has over 499,000 Bitcoin. They've purchased for about $33.1 billion, which gives them an average Bitcoin price of a little over $66,000. Now, what I thought was interesting is that the market did not necessarily appreciate it. MicroStrategy is down on the day. And I really think the interesting thing about this is I don't think that the public markets necessarily understands MicroStrategy and understands these businesses that are trying to build towards a Bitcoin standard. Because if you're pricing MicroStrategy on was this transaction accretive? Basically, it's where's the growth? Where are you valuing the growth? If you're valuing the growth on like an EPS, earnings per share, or a lot of this old fiat garbage, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're valuing the growth on are they adding more Bitcoin than they are diluting, right? Then MicroStrategy grew today and they continue to grow. And if you run rate their growth, it's very impressive. So I just thought it was kind of interesting, a subtle point that Saylor could have bought $2 billion of Bitcoin and the market didn't appreciate it. To me, it tells me a few things. One, the market doesn't understand these businesses, this idea of building towards a Bitcoin standard versus a fiat standard. The public markets don't know how to price it, don't know how to price multiples, don't understand how to value its growth and where to find the growth. Just totally like nobody knows. Not saying it's anyone's fault, but the efforts to communicate this to the world have not worked. That's it. That's, spade a spade. That's number one. Number two is that MicroStrategy seems to be trading much more correlated to Bitcoin than it is to its growth and acquiring of Bitcoin. And, Saylor talks about they're a refinery, they're a Bitcoin refinery. They refine, the Bitcoin energy and volatility and stuff. And so I found that interesting as well, because that goes against the notion of this premium. And so MicroStrategy, I think, is down 50% this year. So its stock has been cut in half, something like that. And Bitcoin's only down 15%. And so it goes to show, again, there are pros and cons to holding Bitcoin and holding MSTR. I don't think the world fully understands MSTR and all these other companies that are doing this thing. They don't know how to price it. They don't understand where to find the growth and how to value the growth, how to put a multiple on the growth. And then also, I think it's how do I say, in a politically correct way? Listen, it's interesting, Saylor added $2 billion of Bitcoin to his balance sheet, and what he calls BTC yield was less than 7%. And so if this stock is going to, perform down 50% when Bitcoin's down 15%, how much BTC yield do you need to justify that level of performance? Interesting. I just found it interesting. No one's right or wrong. I think that there's just a lot to gather from how the market is treating MicroStrategy, how it's pricing its premium. I think it's interesting. That's where I will leave it for now. The other thing that I thought was really cool today was Ken Griffin and Citadel. Ken Griffin and Citadel came out and said they want to get in the crypto game. They want to make markets. They want to be part of the liquidity profile. They want to launch crypto businesses. People were asking me about this. I don't know what opinion the world wants. Duh. My dad once said Bitcoin is like universal acid. It seeps through the cracks, and whatever it touches, it finds a way to conquer. And so what I think is interesting is, no duh, Bitcoin is going to find a way into the US government, into Wall Street, into the biggest proprietary trading firms, hedge funds, high frequency traders in the world. Am I surprised Ken Griffin is into Bitcoin? No. Is Ken Griffin surprised he's into Bitcoin? Probably, right? That's what I would have to say about that. This is growing to become one of the most liquid, saleable global markets in the world. That is Bitcoin. Markets are really truth-seeking machines, and Bitcoin is the most truthful, accessible free market in the world. It has intrinsic value in that way. On a Sunday night, it's the only way for humans to express themselves with time and energy. That's insanely valuable. Now we're under $2 trillion in market cap, but you're talking about a global market that's around, it's more than a tenth of gold at this point. What's gold's market cap? It's more than a tenth of gold. So it's approaching gold levels, global, saleable, liquid, 24/7 free market. So I don't know, everyone wanted me to talk about Ken Griffin getting into Bitcoin. I'm not surprised by Ken Griffin getting into Bitcoin. I'd bet you Ken Griffin is surprised he's getting into Bitcoin. And that says a lot more about Ken Griffin than it says about Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is an ego test. And I don't know. I've heard that guy has an ego. Never met him though. So don't want to talk shit, but you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, as they say. As soon as you're willing to put your ego aside and realize that it's not all about you, that's when you understand Bitcoin. And maybe Ken Griffin took that journey recently. Good for him. Cool. Okay. Other than that, guys, I don't know if there's much. I want to make sure I have room for Q&A to answer the actual things you guys want to talk about, given I don't have a ton of time. I will pause here and leave room for Dylan to shoot me a text to see if there are topics he thinks I should address before we do trivia and Q&A. But I don't know, maybe you guys want to talk about strike stuff. You want to talk about Bitcoin lending. You want to talk about markets. You want to talk about other things, MSTR and Sailor. But I would say I probably have at most like an hour left or so. And I know you guys, usually really like trivia. So I'll give Dill a chance to shoot me a note and give you guys a chance to ask questions. Okay. Dylan say we can move on. So what do you guys think? We do trivia first and then we do Q&A. It's usually what we do. Confirm with me, chat. Confirm thy chat. Art thou? Bybit hack. One thing about the Bybit hack is I talked about the dip to 92K already. You can rewind to the beginning of the show. Ethereum's a joke. The Bybit hack, the funniest thing about the Bybit hack is the fact that there's an active conversation in whether Ethereum should roll back the chain, especially because there's supposedly, Korea or something that performed the hack. So it's just, again, these things aren't distributed. They aren't decentralized. They don't, perform any functional purpose. They hardly work. They're overly complex. They are narrative driven. They're not functionally driven. There's no value accrual. And the fact that there was a hack and we're all sitting on the internet asking a central group of people if they should roll the hack back. I'd rather, if I had to choose between Jerome Powell and Vitalik Buterin, I'd take Jerome Powell, honestly. more credible, more experienced at managing monetary policy globally. Like, who the fuck is Vitalik Buterin, and what gives him credibility of being a central bank? I don't know. So, but that's how we're treating him. Like, hey, man, should we roll this back? It's like, what? Ridiculous. So I don't know. The Bybit hack was embarrassing, pathetic, validating. The crazy thing is, like, the only two things I value in my life are Bitcoin and my life, because they're the only two things, Bitcoin and my time, that I can't make more of, that are truly, definitively scarce. And you can't pay me enough sats to spend my precious time on a lot of this bullshit. I just don't care. The Bybit hack, it's unfortunate. You hate to see customers lose money ever. I will say that. I don't care what was stolen. That always sucks. And so I feel for Bybit, and I feel for the customers that are maybe down. I don't know how they're, maybe paying these people back or whatever. But in any event, that sucks. But the funniest part for me is that there's an active conversation about rolling back the chain. That's ridiculous. Someone asked, what if Bybit had been hacked for Bitcoin instead of Ethereum? There wouldn't have been a conversation about rolling back the chain. Is what it is. So, I mean, the mere fact that we're talking about rolling back the chain tells you everything you need to know about Ethereum, which, I mean, I'd have far less of a problem if they just owned it and said, hey, we're a centralized technology company named Ethereum. And if you have requests like rollbacks, just let us know. Be like, all right, well, at least we're being honest, like ethically honest here. But it's when you say, like, we're decentralized like Bitcoin, we're the better version of Bitcoin. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, who are you trying to fool? What the fuck is going on? Right? Sorry. Again, just being honest. All right, I'm seeing a lot of let's do Q&A first. You guys want Q&A first or trivia first? Strike to cold card is the way. I agree. Talk to me, chat. Q&A or trivia first? I don't think we necessarily need to guide people out of Ethereum and shitcoins. I think the market will do that for them. People aren't stupid. And so the more Bitcoin wins, the more people are going to sit and think to themselves, like, man, why am I holding these pieces of shit? I see a lot of Q&A. Q&A. All right, let's just do Q&A. Fuck it. Easy. I don't see a ton of questions in here, though. So as you guys have questions, please write them down in the chat. The team will try and collect them. I see, I don't know, only 10 or so. Yeah, I agree. Bitcoin, that's it. It's that easy. I agree. All right. First question. What do I think about the centralization of mining pools? I think it's a legitimate risk. I think we're working on the risk as an industry. I think there's a lot of cool things like Ocean. But I think mining, it always has been one of the more interesting threats to Bitcoin and centralizing the asset. And I think it's a risk. I think there's a lot of work by Matt Corallo people should take a look at. I think everyone should take a look at what Luke Dash Jr. and what Ocean is working on. Now, is that risk life-threatening to the project? Does it need everyone's undivided attention today? You can make some arguments where you sit on the spectrum, but I think generally speaking, no. Yeah, I mean, I think the industry needs to fund research and development to address the issue that is centralization of mining pools, 100%. Do you ever think of a potential of blockchain tech to tokenize assets, for example? Bitcoin is perfect money. There's nothing close, but I think a few other chains have some utility in the future. I do not think that at all. I also don't understand the value in tokenizing an asset. What does that do? Let's just be clear about something. The utility of the Bitcoin blockchain is a distributed database, a distributed ledger of who owes what to whom, of who has what money. The implementation of the Bitcoin blockchain is running the best money ever. I've never seen a blockchain be useful for any other use case. What would putting a banana on a blockchain do for me? Or a stock? Why would a stock on a blockchain be any better than a stock on a MySQL database? Seriously, what's the answer to that question? I literally don't know. It's all salesman garbage. And here's another thing. Would you be interested in putting a asset on a blockchain if you couldn't buy a token associated with it? The only point of perpetuating all these ideas is to sell a token. It's like, hey, I'm changing the world by putting assets on a blockchain instead of MySQL databases. Oh, really? How do I get involved? Buy my token. It's like, no, wait. Let's remove the token. Let's remove the fact that you are selling money you're creating out of thin air to people. What is the functional value of putting it on a blockchain? Because these blockchains aren't decentralized, they aren't distributed, just like databases. So let's stop pretending this idea that, Amazon is really centralized and Solana isn't. Fuck off. That is absolutely not true. And everyone knows it at this point, by the way. So what's the value? Why is a blockchain on some shitcoin better than the databases that the biggest companies and governments in the world use to store information? Seriously. And I don't care who you are, someone in the chat or Larry Fink. I've yet to hear a cogent answer to that question. The best use for a blockchain is to operate perfect money. That is Bitcoin. Blockchains are inefficient, slow, and expensive. They are awful databases, but they're worth the pros versus the cons if you're looking to build something like Bitcoin. Like, we need a distributed ledger to self-audited by anyone in the world to see who owes what to whom. Fact. Bitcoin has achieved that. It's very slow, it's expensive, it's inefficient, but it does that job. Why I would want to put a stock or a house or a banana on a blockchain, zero value, makes absolutely zero sense. And again, the only reason people value this and people are trying to convince you it's valuable is because they want you to buy their token. You remove the token out of it, no story. No one gives a shit. Apple is spending $500 million on an AI server factory in Texas. Do you think they'll learn to mine Bitcoin when AI prompts are slow? Yes. Well, I think everyone will understand that Bitcoin is a persistent bid for energy globally. Okay. So it is the best way to monetize energy. So if you have any excess energy, if you have cheap energy, Bitcoin is a buyer of it. What do I mean by that? You can take any abundant energy, excess energy, efficient energy resources, and you can turn it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin will purchase that energy and give you Bitcoin in return. So instead of thinking like you're mining Bitcoin, think Bitcoin is mining energy. Reverse it, right? So if there's energy out there in the world, Bitcoin will find it. Does that make sense? It's really cool if you think about it that way. Think of Bitcoin as this like automated distributed network that's looking around the world for cheap, abundant energy to protect itself and persist itself. It's like Bitcoin's alive. I sound like Sailor. But so if Apple is spending a ton of money on server factories and there are efficiencies to be made, I think they will make them, and Bitcoin will Bitcoin will fix so much of our global energy grid. It is not even funny. like straight up. So yes, my answer is absolutely 100%. Ken Griffin is an expert. He must have been aware of Bitcoin since 2012. Why now? Again, I think there's a lot of people that have been aware of Bitcoin since 2012 and still haven't bought it. I think Bitcoin is an ego test. It's an ego test. You get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. As soon as you're willing to admit, I'm not bigger than this thing, I'm not more important than this thing. You know, really, a lot of successful people in the world understand that success is correlated with control. You know, Ken Griffin lives in a world where the more control and dominance he has in a market, the more success he has. Mark Zuckerberg lives in a world where the more control he has over his users, over his advertisers, the more success he has. So I found it interesting that a lot of these guys, Bitcoin's off-putting to them because you don't get any control. You get the same rights, the same rules as everyone else. It's rules without any rulers. It doesn't matter who you know, how much money you have, how many servers you have, how many users you have. You don't get an advantage. And I think that's foreign to a lot of these guys. And I think that's a lot of the reason that we've seen them go into other shitcoins. Because if you get into Ethereum, if you get into Solana, if you launch meme coins, if you launch altcoins, ICOs, NFTs, you can get an advantage. You can get control. You can take advantage of other people. And I think that's much more their speed, their language, what they're used to. And I'm not even going to try and impose like ethical and moral behavior right now. You know, I'm hinting at what I believe in here, but just why do I think it may have taken Ken Griffin longer than others to join a network that gives him no superior advantage, no inherent control, no benefit to himself over others? Because I'm not sure that's how he's ever seeked out success over the last 30, 40 years. It's just not how his business has traditionally worked. And so when I say Bitcoin is an ego test, I really think you have to sacrifice this notion of seeking out control, of inserting yourselves in a hierarchy that implies worser for others than yourself. And you have to say, I'm not bigger than this thing. I'm not more important than this thing. I'm one with this thing. This thing is bigger than I am. It will last longer than I will. And I can find value in just contributing to it and playing my part. But it's our thing. Then that Ken Griffin has access to stacking sats in the same way that someone in Ghana has access to stacking sats. And I think that's just been a difficult, humbling thing for a lot of folks around the world to subscribe to. Like, think about it. Mark Zuckerberg understood Bitcoin, saw Bitcoin, and then tried to create his own coin. It's like, why didn't you just buy Bitcoin and build on Bitcoin? Why did you learn about the technology, understand the technology, and then think to yourself, well, I have to create and control my own, right? It's second nature to these folks. So in many ways, Bitcoin is rewiring and fixing the world in this way. It's leveling the playing field. It's restoring level property rights, level freedom of speech for all, and letting everyone contribute time, energy, effort, labor, work, value to the world and be treated equally. And for those that have earned rightfully an advantage over others over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I think subscribing to this new idea is challenging for them, and it takes them longer than others. So Bitcoin is an ego test. Once you sacrifice your ego, you become a Bitcoiner. And so I think it doesn't matter how successful or smart you are prior to Bitcoin. Bitcoin will humble you no matter who you are, and you get it at the price you deserve. So I don't know Ken Griffin. I don't know his story. Never met him. So that's just my opinion. Could be right, could be wrong. Take it for what it's worth. Thoughts on balancing energy grid demands with nuclear plus Bitcoin mining? Again, The way to think about Bitcoin is it's a persistent bid, meaning it's constantly purchasing energy around the world. You can, turn a grid on or off. You can dial how much energy you are put. I think Bitcoin will balance the global grid and contribute to incentivizing clean energy, efficient energy. The way the grid works today, guys, is let's say I'm sitting here in the city of Chicago. Massive city, one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the biggest cities in the United States. Okay. The way the grid works is the city of Chicago is trying to guess how much energy we all need to consume on a daily basis. And it's going to round to the upside because obviously if something happens, like something goes super viral or it's the Super Bowl or it's the St. Patrick's Day parade, and we tip the grid and we exceed the amount of energy that we have accessible to us, then everything breaks. The whole thing blows up. And so what happens is you're always rounding up in the grid. Like there's always excess energy. There's always extra energy kind of just in case. Now, I wouldn't describe that as very efficient. Also, the only energy that is useful to me sitting here in Chicago is energy that's near me. If there's some like waterfall way out in the woods, far, far away, it can produce energy, but why is that valuable to me? It can't power my washing machine. It can't power this live stream. It can't power the television I'm going to turn on while I pack for my flight tomorrow. And so what Bitcoin does is it's able to somehow take excess energy, abundant energy out in a forest waterfall and purchase it with Bitcoin in a decentralized, distributed way. It's fucking insane. It's absolutely fucking insane. And so I think Bitcoin will stabilize grids. It'll force you to be more efficient with your energy use. It will monetize excess energy. It will drive clean energy initiatives. All right. If you have energy far, far away, it's worth zero because who's going to pay for it? Why would I, living in Chicago, pay you for energy that you've captured in a waterfall 200 miles away? Why would I give a shit? But the Bitcoin network will give you Bitcoin for it. Changes everything. And then you could take that Bitcoin and then I'd buy that Bitcoin from you. So now all of a sudden, if you proxy it all the way through, I am interested in that energy in a waterfall in the middle of nowhere, right? And if that waterfall in the middle of the nowhere is cheaper, more efficient energy than the Bitcoin mining energy that's being used today, then that's going to mine more Bitcoin, right? And so it's a challenge of like, who in humanity can harness the cheapest, most efficient energy? And that's a great thing for our species. Really, the story of humanity is commercializing energy from the sun. The better we've been at that and the more accessible we've made energy to ourselves, the more prosperous our species. And I see Bitcoin as the next iteration of commercializing energy from the sun. Bitcoin is energy money, and Bitcoin mining is going to change the world. You heard it here first or second. I'm sure other people have had similar rants. Okay, let me turn on a light real quick. Let's do a quick lap around the closet. Proof of closet, but the sun's gone down and I need to turn on a light. Let's see how fast I am. Ready, set, go. Time. I'd be in the Olympics if I wasn't running strike. All right. Next question. You have seen how El Salvador people, Salvadorans as they call them, use and value USD or Tether. Isn't Tether a stable coin run on the Ethereum shitcoin? Yeah, Tether is a stable coin. It's run. I did almost fall. You didn't see that bird. Bird is the word. Bird, bird, bird. Tether is run on a plethora of shit coins, but I would challenge you guys, like, so is the dollar. Tether is, fiat in many ways. And I would say Tether runs on Tron, Ethereum, a whole slew of shit coins, but the dollar runs on ACH, Wire. Like, I would say that's equally, shit. There's nothing that compares to the Bitcoin network and things like the Lightning Network. You get global, instant, physical settlement, cash final. You can audit its monetary policy and its supply and its new issuance 24/7. Its distribution is fair in a open auction for energy. I mean, nothing compares to that. So yes, I would say Tether's not a Bitcoin competitor whatsoever. And listen, if someone wants access to the US dollar on the Tron network instead of the ACH network, is one more ethical than the other? They're both centralized pieces of trash, but hey, if you need dollars, get dollars, right? Like, I mean, who am I to tell you otherwise? Especially as I sit in like the most developed country in the world with the best financial markets. Who am I going to tell someone in El Salvador or Argentina or Turkey, like, you need to be using ACH to get dollars, not Tron? I don't give a shit. They're all centralized pieces of trash that, hopefully we disrupt along our journey of building this industry and building Bitcoin, right? Lots of people think Saylor should share proof of reserves. As a publicly traded, audited company, I disagree and choose not to miss out on strategy because of that. What are your thoughts? I don't think you necessarily need to miss out on strategy, but I think proof of reserves for someone that owns the most Bitcoin in the world is not a bad idea. I guess I'd be curious as to why he's not interested in proving to his shareholder. Because listen, I mean, Saylor's pretty transparent about it. He, like, the whole point of his business is the Bitcoin he's acquired. That he's not shy about that. He's saying, like, I'm acquiring Bitcoin for my shareholders, and when I buy Bitcoin, you should be happy. And I think for people to say, well, can you just prove to me that you're actually buying the Bitcoin that you're saying you are? That's not an irrational or an unreasonable question. But listen, I run a business. I know these things are hard. Maybe he has legitimate reasons. But I don't think that means that you have to miss out on strategy. You can believe in him, believe in the leadership and the vision, believe in the stock, and then also desire at some future state a little bit more transparency into the core value of the business. I don't know if that makes sense or the answer you were looking for. What are your thoughts on the rumors of the US losing or selling their Bitcoin? Guys, I've heard so many goddamn rumors about the US losing or selling or buying Bitcoin, and nothing has actually changed. It reminds me of that saying, markets can remain irrational far longer than you can remain solvent. It's this idea that if you're expecting and relying on things to happen quick, they typically happen longer than you think. It might take some time. It might take some time for the US government to finalize and settle on a real, developed, and official Bitcoin strategy. And there's going to be a lot of rumors and a lot of gossip and a lot of ups and downs in the in-between. That's why I keep saying, guys, like, I expect short-term volatility. I think there's a lot of emotion around the world. Like, I mean, our government's actively getting audited by, the richest man in our country, unelected. A lot of people have a lot to say about that. Good, bad, up, down, left, right. Trump is very divisive. Won the popular vote. A lot of people love him. A lot of people don't. There's global tensions. There's macroeconomic concerns. There's inflationary pressures everywhere, but not enough fiat liquidity to go around. Where's it going to come from? Is Jerome Powell going to make a move? Is the Treasury going to be forced to do something? There's a lot of rumors, a lot of gossip, a lot of emotion, a lot of tension. But if you sit back, you stay humble, you stack sats, you remain profitable, you remain true, not a lot's changed. Did the U.S. government lose their Bitcoin? Not that I'm aware of. The U.S. government sell their Bitcoin? Not that I'm aware of. Is Bitcoin still, 90,000 to 100,000? Yeah. So I kind of said it, like, stay humble, stack sats, don't get scared out, don't get shaken out, don't let these people drain you of your energy. Find ways that you can passionately contribute to this world in a net profitable way, and end the day with more Bitcoin than you started with, and you're going to be just fine. So I don't know. I'm sure there's rumors out there. They don't sound new. Any update on the SBR from my end? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people in this country hard at work at making sure we have a good Bitcoin strategy. We're thinking about it the right way, and we as a country can benefit from it. Again, these things take time. Like like the Bitcoin Act by Senator Lummis, I mean, that needs Congress approval. These things take time. There are things that Trump can do with an executive order. There are certain ideas, but these things take time. And, you know, with every opportunity like this, you're going to get lobbying shitcoiners that are, paying top dollar to slow things down, get in the way, advocate for their side of the story. The amount of time and energy I've spent over the last 12 years of my life trying to explain people why Ethereum is not like Bitcoin, why Ripple is not like Bitcoin. And the fact that I'm still doing that today and to politicians is outrageous, is fucking absurd. But again, unfortunately, great things seem to, in my experience in life, take time, take effort. Nothing great is achieved fast. Nothing great is achieved easy. So it's taking the time I expect. I mean, there are a lot of credible rumors that Trump was going to do an executive order. I think things were just too confusing for him. I see a comment by Jason, fuck the reserve. We don't need it. I also agree with that, by the way. Listen, if the U.S. Became Bitcoiners, I think that'd be great as a government. But I don't think we necessarily need it. I agree with that. They will become Bitcoiners. Bitcoin, Sailor says, and I agree with him on this one, Bitcoin is on a need-to-know basis. When the U.S. needs to understand Bitcoin, trust me, they will. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of lobbying nonsense. Why are all of my closets empty? What other closets do I have? This is the only empty closet I have, I think. I mean, unless you count my guest room. Why is it empty? I answered that in a previous episode. Long story short, I think it's awesome that it's empty, and I don't ever plan on changing it. All right. Markets, what do you think of Bitcoin cycles? Are cycles dead? No, not at all. I think we're right in the middle of a cycle. I think it's no coincidence that Bitcoin seems to react to the halving. I think of the halving as a commodity inventory reduction. You're reducing. So think of, people say the halving is priced in or not priced in. I think neither. Think of it like this. Let's say you've got hoodie inventory. Let's say there's 100 hoodies in your inventory for sale, and there's generally persistent demand. Now, if I were to reduce the inventory by half, now there's only 50 hoodies on the shelf. All that does is it reduces the market cushion. It reduces the cushion until we enter hoodie price discovery. Because the next time someone shows up to buy a hoodie and there's none in the inventory, now you got to go get it from someone that already has a hoodie. And who knows how much they're going to want in the secondary market, right? It's the same thing with Bitcoin, is when the halving just reduces the cushion, the padding of new issued coins. And it greatly expedites us to this price discovery moment of what, you're going to need to get Bitcoin from the market. And that's from those that have it. And now we have to find out how much the holders of Bitcoin value Bitcoin. Do they think it's worth 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000? And there will be sellers at the margin, but the halving seems to push us into price discovery because it's an inventory reduction. Like in the 88 drought in the Midwest of America, corn, wheat, these agriculture commodities, and there was a farming drought. That it wasn't like priced in or not priced in. It was an inventory reduction. There's less corn in the stores, in the grocery stores. And then eventually, if there was persistent and surging demand for corn, and then you ran out of corn inventory in the grocery stores, then you went into corn price discovery. How much are you willing to pay someone to get corn in your burrito? Right? Same thing. So I think it's no secret. And a lot of these 4-year cycles seem to kind of work around, general global credit cycles too. So anyway, no, I don't think cycles are dead at all. What signal are you looking for to know when dollar weakening will soon occur? I'm looking at the dollar chart. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. And then I also am looking at, let me tell you guys something. Here, let's see if I can zoom this out here. So let me share my screen. This is the DXY, so the US dollar index. Can you guys see this? Yeah, it looks like it. So you're looking at the US dollar index here. And so you can see here, look at, 2020, 2021. Look at how weak the dollar was down here. And then fastest rate hike of all time, 2022, the dollar got really strong. And then you can see the dollar weakened, and you've seen a recent rebound in the dollar. And this is, September, October, November, really, the dollar started to show some strength. And again, this is not good for Trump and what he wants to do. He wants to make our exports competitive. He wants to reshore a lot of things in this country. He needs a weaker dollar to do all of these things. It's highly inflationary. And so I'm looking at this, and you can see the dollar starting to, in markets, what they call turnover. So you've seen pop, and it seems to be coming back down. So when the dollar gets back down here or falls even lower, very, very good for Bitcoin, obviously. The other thing I'm looking for is for the Treasury to kind of pick a direction, because markets will tell you exactly, these financial authority leaders are going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. They're going to come out with the ABCDEFG funding program that it inserts $10 trillion of liquidity to, do car manufacturing and all sorts of industry investment in America. Boom. There's 10 trillion new dollars, right? And I think more so, the bank refunding announcements are interesting. Like, here's another one. The U.S. government's always looking for who's going to buy treasuries. After 2008, there used to be a rule where banks can use unlimited amounts of leverage to buy treasuries. They changed that, where banks have to post like things they actually own, collateral, to buy treasuries after 2008, because banks clearly, took on way too much risk and almost blew the world up. Well, did blow the world up. And so they changed that rule. Now banks recently are asking for the rule to revert back to pre-2008, where they can just like buy as much, dog shit treasuries as the US government needs them to buy without really any checks and balances. An announcement like that, where if the US government were to change that rule, highly inflationary, right? So, there are subtle little announcements, subtle funding programs, and you can just track the DXY to just get a taste. So, that's why I'm looking at the DXY. I'm like, I find it really hard to believe where the world is at, that Bitcoin is going to go to 150 right now, like everyone's saying on Twitter. In Bitcoin, it's a smarter asset than any other asset, because it's a freer market than everything else. It's too smart to do that. So anyway, I think the most bullish thing about Bitcoin right now is looking at gold. Bitcoin will catch it when the time is right. So anyway, gotta move on. Since you have faith in sound money, what are your thoughts on gold? Timely question. Listen, I remember calling gold a shitcoin, and I got all these boomers upset. I mean, money is a winner take all market, right? Like, we don't live in a world where you go into Subway to get a sandwich and they want Subway coin, and then you go take the bus and they want bus coin, and then you go fly in a plane and they want plane coin. The world wants one money, one unit, one market good that represents your time, your energy, your effort, your labor, that keeps track of who owes what to whom. How much value have you given to the world? How much value does the world owe you? Does the world owe you $10 trillion ounces of gold, 10,000 Bitcoins worth of value, right? And so Bitcoin to me is better at being money than gold. So I think of gold like I think of everything else, something I wouldn't want to own. I don't want to own second place. Some people are often like, yeah, Bitcoin is, technically better than gold, but you still might want to own some. Why? Why would I ever want to own the second best, third best, fourth best? maybe that's a personality thing. That's just not my swag. If I understand the best and I know it's the best, I'm not going to own anything else. Why would I? I don't understand. So, I mean, listen, if I have gold bugs watching and you guys want to hear like some gold bullishness, I think there's a serious chance central banks devalue fiat against gold. I think, pretty non-zero chance at some point the US Treasury devalues the dollar against gold, because gold is the thing that all central banks own. If all central banks own Bitcoin, they'd probably devalue against Bitcoin, but meaning they will come out and say, we have gold at $40 an ounce. That's what, we've been marking it on our balance sheet as. We now just decided it's $40,000 an ounce. And that just if you want weaker dollar, like if you're Trump and you need a weaker dollar, one way to get a weaker dollar is to just pick a new price for gold. And so there's a real chance that central banks do that to weaken their currencies. And that'd be good for gold. But like, again, here, God damn it. Let me show you guys something else now. So this is another chart. This is Bitcoin priced in gold. So right now, can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. So right now, Bitcoin is worth about 31 ounces of gold, right? And you can see our all-time high is 40 ounces, okay? And, we can see at one point in the last bull run, we hit this kind of like 35 ounces level, and we've been chopping around it, and I expect us to kind of blast higher towards 100 ounces of gold eventually at some point in this cycle. But the interesting thing is, let's say governments and central banks come out and say, we've been marking gold at $40 an ounce, and we're going to make it $40,000 an ounce. And now gold is worth $40,000. This chart is going to crash, right? Because Bitcoin is now going to be worth much less ounces of gold if gold is now officially worth 40,000. So what are people going to do? They're going to sell gold at 40,000 and buy some cheap Bitcoin, right? So at the end of the day, I don't really care what central banks do to manipulate people. Money, capital, value, time, energy will seek where it's hardest. And so I kind of sit peacefully in Bitcoin. I don't really give a shit. Like, gold might have a moment where central banks devalue against it, but then you'd be a fool to not take advantage of that moment as a gold holder and sell it for real estate, for oil, for energy, for Bitcoin, So I don't stress it. Hopefully that made sense. Do you think gold will be revalued as new security for additional lending? Is this bearish for dollars? Not sure I understand that question. Maybe it was misspelled. Do you think that printed dollars being more absorbed by Bitcoin rather than being spent in the economy will allow them to keep CPI power lower while they continue to print? I think they can keep the CPI lower for a plethora of reasons by also changing the rules. So I wouldn't trust the CPI. It's that simple. They may or may not be able to manipulate the CPI in lots of different ways. So I just wouldn't give a shit about what the CPI is. Why do you think most people don't understand Bitcoin and underestimate how high it can go? Do you think it can go to 5 million by 2030? Yes, I absolutely think it can go to 5 million by 2030. Why do I think most people don't understand Bitcoin? Again, because I don't know that most people need to understand Bitcoin yet. So it's hard to get someone to understand something when they don't need to. Needing, I love the painkiller versus vitamin. People sometimes forget to take their vitamins because they don't need their vitamins. Vitamins are nice to have. I've never met someone that has forgotten to take their painkiller because they just had surgery or they have a severe injury. You need to take that, or else you're going to be in severe pain and go to the hospital. So that's on a need to know. No, oh shit. When I was a kid, oh mom, I forgot to take my vitamins. Don't be mad. It's nice. Vitamins are nice to have when I was a kid. Painkiller, need to have. So I think we're only slowly entering a new era where people need to figure out how to store their value. Trust me, that's growing, and more people every single day need to figure that out. But I would say right now, that's probably the main reason why. Most people don't need to know. Could you allow us to change our DCA amount without having to reset the 1 week of fees? I think we do this, and you can set up multiple DCAs, by the way. I know you can set up multiple, but I don't know if we allow you to change the DCA amount. I will check in on that. And yeah, I think, it's good feedback. This is a request, a strike request. We're now in the strike section. Good feedback. I think you can give it a try. You can set up multiple. I know that for sure. And if you can, I'll let the team know. Is strike bill pay covered by some kind of FDIC insurance if funds are somehow compromised? If the dollars are somehow compromised, we work with Cross River Bank. And I will need the answer to this is in FAQ. I don't want to misspeak and promise anything, any legalities without checking with my legal team. But you can look up Cross River Bank for now and search through our FAQ, and feel free to reach out to support if you want any further clarity about that. And I will also double check and make sure that this is represented well and clear in our terms of service. When will Strike integrate passkeys, security key support like YubiKey? So we are working on just our two-factor security, making that a little bit more customizable is what people requested. So you can put it on different features and functions of the business. And then I think we're going to look into YubiKeys next. But I think right now the security focus is just making sure that the two-factor auth restrictions are a little bit more flexible than they are today. So, at Strike, we try and be the most customer-focused company in the world. We try and listen to you guys. I mean, a lot of the reason I do this stream is I want to connect with you guys. I want to know what you are interested in, what features you want, what questions you have. And so we have this really iterative approach where we know that a lot of our customers that use 2FA and some of the security features want them to be a little bit more flexible. And so we'll just slowly improve that. And then I think we're going to take a look at YubiKey after. Let's see. Will you be restocking the Ross Ulbricht hoodies? I know Dylan wanted those to kind of be scarce in a way. It was a really unique moment. Ross just got freed. We wanted to raise money for him and do something special in conjunction with the community. So I don't know. It's up to Dylan. Dylan runs that. And I don't know if Dylan will have an urge to inflate these hoodies, bring some inflation to the hoodies, devalue the existing ones, or if he's going to keep them scarce and whoever got one. And, we can all relish in the fact that we got those scarce hoodies. So that's up to Dylan. Follow him on Twitter. Maybe he'll make an announcement. I don't know. Any update for Strike BTC backed loans? Yes. They're coming together. I would say at this point, we're weeks away ish. I don't know. Launching products, especially that are really big, are hard. The way we would roll this product out too, by the way, it wouldn't be like snap of a finger. Hey, everyone gets everything they've ever wanted. So when I say, we're weeks, not necessarily like months, I mean, for me to start thinking about rollout announcement. So thank you for continuing to be patient with us, but I would say we're making a ton of progress. We're super proud of what we have, and I'm really excited to show you guys. What other Bitcoin companies do you think or wish Strike might partner with? That's a good question. I don't know. I've always looked up to Dorsey and Square. And so the BitKey product, I know we've talked about working with them. I think we're interested in some TradFi companies when it comes to Bitcoin collateralized lending. So different pools of capital to unlock new opportunities with Bitcoin, getting loans, different ways to finance your life or new opportunities. I'd be interested in that. So I think, in the super near term, like things that you guys get your hands on relatively soon, I think those are the two that come to mind. I'm curious about your trips to Central America. I know Costa Rica is a small market, but is there any potential for projects there alongside Jack Dorsey? What about Strike to their local currency? Yeah, Costa Rica is great. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And I would say we're definitely interested. There's a few local projects that do local currency conversion that mentioned that they would give us their APIs, and I told them we'd absolutely integrate it. So yeah, 100%. The answer to your question is yes. Oh boy, advice. Are you ever nervous when performing firmware updates on hardware wallets? Nervous is probably not the right word. Cautious. Yeah. I mean, self-responsibility, self-sovereignty. That's the real deal. No bailouts. So, yeah, of course, cautious. Absolutely. And, I'd say Cold Card at this point, as the hardware wallet I'd recommend. What US city do you think is the most welcoming to Bitcoiners? Probably Austin, Texas. Probably Austin, Texas. I think Texas, the culture, the Bitcoiners there, the commons, I would say that. Nashville's up there. I think Miami's too gaudy. It's too shitcoiny. And I don't know. New York's just so big. It might be great. It might not. I can't speak from experience, but I would say Texas, the state, and then within Texas, I would say probably Austin is number one. Will I be in BTC Vegas? Yes, I will be. I'll see you guys there. What information pushed you into becoming a Bitcoin maxi? Do you have an aha moment? I mean, I got to keep these answers short, guys, because I do have to go soon and pack for my trip. I would say I have been in Bitcoin for over 12 years now. And I saw it. I was there when Litecoin and Ethereum were created. I was there and I saw the promises that were made, the technology that was built. I watched Ethereum. I would say like one big moment for me was watching the DAO hack and watching Ethereum roll back. And it, in that moment, committed to not being a hard money. It killed any dream or hope or vision for that. And it became a technology platform that optimized for developers and for all that other shit, which is fine. But then don't 10 years later act like I forgot and try and convince me it's hard money. So I would just say I've been there. I was there the whole time. I saw the block size wars. So there's all sorts of aha moments and things I can share, but maybe in a longer forum, because I kind of have to go. So I would say pack. My closet is empty. I know I have another closet with stuff in it. Okay. So I will say this. I kind of have to go. Maybe we'll do like 3 trivia questions, just to make sure I don't leave you guys on the short end here. And this will just be a shorter episode, unfortunately. But there's always next week. That's a cool thing. I'm not going anywhere. How's that sound? Fair game? Take a sip of water. Cool. You guys ready for trivia? I usually let people make sure you're caught up to like the utmost live, because obviously whoever hears the question first has a serious advantage. So make sure you catch yourself up. All right. We'll do 3 questions. I always forget how much we did. Dylan, how many, what's the reward usually for these? What do you guys want the reward to be? 10K sats. So what? But Bitcoin's down. So let's see. Oh, 10K sats is $9. Let's do 50,000 sats 3 times. So around, geez, I got burp. Sorry. Around $50 3 times, $150 in total prizes. Fair game? All right. First question. What Bitcoin exchange was launched in 2011? Roger Ver and Eric Voorhees also contributed and worked for it. Who founded it, and what was it called? I'm looking for the first correct answer in the chat. Not Mt. Gox, not Kraken, not Bybit. No. Charlie Sheen. I've got Bit Instant. It's Bit Instant Charlie Shrem. Okay. We're going to the tape. You guys know how we go to the tape? Charlie Sheen. Isn't that like a alcoholic actor or something? I'm not a TV guy. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I think that that's the wrong Charlie. Okay. Let me take a screenshot here. This is so funny. Let me see. Who's Charlie Sheen? That's American actor. Yeah. Okay. No, not Charlie Sheen. That's an American actor. So let me go to the tape, show you guys what I'm looking at. Share screen. All right. You guys will be able to see this here. Okay, so you can see them coming in. Mt. Gox, Shapeshift, no. Mt. Gox, no. Bit Instant, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen, again, is an American actor that I think had drug and alcohol problems. It's Bit Instant, Charlie Shrem is the correct answer. So Joe Rapp, winner, chicken dinner, my friend. The 2011 exchange is one of the first exchanges ever, was founded by a guy named Charlie Shrem, not Charlie Sheen. Roger Ver, I think, was an investor. Eric Voorhees was an employee. Pretty cool. And I think it was the exchange where the Winklevoss got, their first Bitcoin, maybe. Pretty cool history, though. Charlie Shrem, you've probably seen him in a bunch of Bitcoin documentaries. Everyone's laughing at Charlie Sheen. Yeah, didn't Charlie Sheen, let me see, Charlie Sheen alcohol. Yeah. Oh, he's sober now. Good for him. Attaboy, Charlie, if you're listening. Good for you. Take ownership. Take direction of your life. Nice. Nice one. All right. Do you guys know the drill? Shit, I forgot to explain this. To collect your prize, you go to Dylan ... on Twitter and DM him. He will send you your 50,000 sats either to your Lightning address or your Strike account. So this is Dylan's Twitter account, Dylan ... That's spelled out. Dylan DOTDOTDOT. Cool. All right, 2 more for 50,000. Oh, damn. HIV? Yikes. I didn't know that. How Charlie Sheen got in our Bitcoin live stream is something else. That's outrageous. I'm not a TV guy. I don't even really know who that is. Was that too easy? Dylan messaged me. What does Dylan want? Oh, nice. Get Charlie Sheen off 0. Okay. What is, here's a good one. What is the smallest unit of Bitcoin on the Lightning Network? 50,000 sats. I already see a winner chicken dinner. I mean, I'm going to allow millisat to be a winner, which is UTXO. Oh, clever name, UTXO, but spelled out. Here, let me go to the tape, show you guys what I see. But UTXO, winner chicken dinner, clever spelling, DM Dylan. That one seemed to be too easy. You know what's funny, guys? I cannot really stump you. I don't want to go too hard because I don't want to be standing here all day, but you guys are getting really good at this game. Here is what I'm looking at. And I saw millisat from UTXO first. And that's true. For those that don't know, the smallest unit in the Bitcoin network is a Satoshi, obviously, but Lightning allows for even more granularity. Pretty cool. So you can actually use a millisat, which is 1/1000th of a Satoshi. Pretty fucking sweet. So when people are always like, what if Satoshi isn't enough? What if we need to divide more? Well, on layers above Bitcoin, we actually can divide more. Little do people know. Pretty cool. UTXO, winner chicken dinner, DM Dylan. Okay. The last question. For the stream. Oh, wow. $91,000 Bitcoin. I love it. Stack that dip. Guess you go buy the dip on strike. Okay. What is an HTLC and what layer 2 prominently uses them? Kind of easy, but what is an HTLC and what layer 2 prominently uses HTLCs? 50,000 sats. Kale, is that actually him? My friend, Saquon Barkley. Kale got it. Too easy. If he was watching, I would have never asked that question. That's damn near cheating. The answer is hash time lock contract, and the Lightning Network is the most famous implementation of them, in my not so humble opinion. Let's check the tape. Shout out Kale. Fucking legend. All right. So fire Jack, get out. That's never the right answer. Fuck you. Just kidding. I don't even know the context. It's pretty funny. Hash time like contract Lightning. So HTLCs, they're pretty cool. You guys should look them up. There's used to be Bitcoin wiki that I used to use. It was maintained by this guy named David Harding. Yeah. Go to, where's the YouTube chat? I'm putting this in the YouTube chat. But hash time lock contracts. Let's see. A hash time time locked contract, or HTLC, is a class of payments that uses hash locks or time locks to require the receiver of payment to either acknowledge receiving the payment prior to a deadline by generating cryptographic proof of payment, or forfeit the ability to claim the payment, returning it to the payer. Pretty cool. You guys should read up on that. Sorry, I'm distracted because I am kind of late and really have to go. Dylan, are we good? You're going to send Kale 50,000 sats? Yeah, okay. Kale, you do not need to DM Dylan on Twitter. We know who you are. Awesome. Well, not personally, not doxing, but Dylan already has your Lightning address. Can send you it on Nostr. Slice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to bounce. People are asking where I'm going. I'm going out west tomorrow. I'm going to San Francisco tomorrow, and then I'm going to New York from San Francisco. And then I'll be back in the closet this weekend. So I think for the next episode, I'll be in the closet. But when duty calls, we got to get shit done. We got to orange pill the world. And I need to get out there and make shit happen. So that's what I'll do. So much love. I appreciate you guys. Keep giving us feedback in the comments. I got an episode with Preston. I haven't released it yet. I'm waiting on my team to finalize a few things, but I'm going to start doing interviews with other guests, which I'm really excited about. So I got an episode with Preston. It's really good. He's great. It's on the way. We do this episode, live streams every single Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I try and make myself as accessible as possible. You guys can ask me whatever you want. We'll go over market sentiment, any recent news, and we'll do a little fun trivia, give away some sats. Cool? All right. Much love. I appreciate you guys. Have a good week. Buy the dip. Stay humble and stack. Peace.